Have you ever felt like you're just fighting an invisible force in your life? Like there's this current that seems to be pulling you in the exact opposite direction of where you're trying to go? Well, today we're going to explore a really simple but incredibly profound parable that can help us understand that feeling, and maybe even discover the secret to finding our flow. It all starts with a single, clear picture in our minds. So just let everything else fall away for a moment. I want you to picture a simple boat, just resting on the water. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or grand, just a vessel waiting. This simple image, it really holds the key to understanding our own journey.
Every boat has a destination. It has a purpose, and our boat is no different. It wants to get from point A to point B, a simple, straightforward journey. But this journey, it represents something so much deeper, doesn't it? It's the goals we set for ourselves, the dreams we're chasing, the person we hope we can become. It's the destination we are all moving toward.
But there's a crucial question we have to ask. And it's not about the boat. Not yet. It's about the river itself. See, the water isn't still. It's moving. It has a current. And the direction of that current, well, that's going to change everything. So this leaves our boat with two basic choices. It can travel with the current, or it can try to fight its way against it. And these two paths, they represent two profoundly different ways of living. Let's explore them, shall we? First, let's imagine our boat has no rower, no engine, basically no effort is being put in. As you can see on the left, if it's pointed toward its destination and the current is flowing with it, what happens? The boat just drifts, carried gently and surely by the water. It will, without any struggle at all, eventually get to point B. But now, look over on the right. If that exact same boat is pointed toward a destination upstream, the current immediately starts pushing it backward, farther and farther away from its goal. Without effort, making any progress against the current is literally impossible. Okay, so now let's give our boat some power. Let's add a rower and an engine. This is our hard work, our ambition. If it's traveling with the current, all that effort is amplified, it's multiplied. The boat just glides to its destination with incredible speed and ease. The whole journey feels powerful, almost effortless. But what happens when that same boat with that same powerful engine turns around and tries to go against the current? Well, it can make progress. It can fight its way upstream, but the journey is just a constant battle. The engine is straining, the rower gets exhausted, and every single inch of progress is this hard-won victory against a relentless opposing force. And this right here, this is the crucial point. When you're fighting the current, you can never rest. The moment you stop rowing, the second you cut the engine to just catch your breath, the river takes over. And all that hard-won progress, it's lost as you're swept right back downstream. The effort has to be constant, and in the end, it's just exhausting. So you've probably figured out this simple parable isn't really just about a boat. It's about you. It's about the voyage of your life. This image gives us a really profound way to understand our own experiences, our efforts, and the real nature of our progress. So I want you to just take a moment and reflect, honestly, which boat are you in? When you think about your life right now, your career, your relationships, your sense of well-being, are you gliding forward with a sense of ease, or does it feel like you are fighting for every single inch? Does any of this feel familiar? That feeling of endless effort for what feels like very little progress? Or that constant nagging fear that if you just stop pushing for one moment, everything you worked for is going to fall apart? This is the deep gut feeling of rowing against the current. And yeah, we all have moments of grace, those moments of flow, but for so many of us, the main feeling of our lives is this struggle. And this is the state so many of us find ourselves in. We get so focused on just rowing harder, on building a stronger engine, that we often forget to even question the journey itself. We celebrate overcoming hardship, and we should, but we rarely stop and ask ourselves, why does life have to feel so hard in the first place? This brings us to the real heart of the matter. If we're fighting against something, what is this powerful, invisible force we're constantly battling? What exactly is the current of the river? The current isn't chaos. It's actually order.
It represents the deep, underlying principles and laws that govern reality. And these aren't man-made rules. They're the fundamental truths of how things actually work. To live in harmony with these principles is to flow with the current. To ignore them or to defy them, well, that's to struggle against it. And these principles are absolutely everywhere. I mean, they're the laws of physics, like gravity, that keep us grounded. They're the principles of biology that govern our health. But just as powerfully, they're the principles that shape our relationships and our society. Think about the principle of trust, for example. When you act with honesty, trust builds naturally. It creates momentum. But when you act with deceit, you have to spend constant energy to keep up the facade. You're rowing against the current. Or just think about cause and effect. To flow with it is to plant good seeds today for a harvest tomorrow. To fight it is to expect to harvest where you haven't even sown. So if the struggle comes from fighting the current, then ease and real progress must come from flowing with it. The goal, then, isn't just to become a stronger rower, but to become a wiser navigator. The path forward is all about alignment. For so long, we've been taught that the answer to our problems is just more effort. Work harder, push through, get a bigger engine. But this parable teaches us a different, much more profound lesson. Effort is crucial, of course, but it's pretty useless if it's pointed in the wrong direction. True wisdom isn't in brute force. It's in first understanding the direction of the current, and then aligning our efforts with its powerful natural flow. This table here, it really just lays the whole framework out. Look at that top row. When we align with the principles of life, with truth, with cause and effect, with our own nature, our journey is like flowing with the current. We get ease, we build momentum, and we experience real, authentic growth. But then there's the bottom row. When we ignore these principles, our journey becomes that constant fight against the current, and that leads, inevitably, to struggle, exhaustion, and stagnation.
This is the core takeaway, the one shift in perspective that changes absolutely everything. We've been taught that progress has to be born from struggle. But what if the deepest, most meaningful progress comes not from fighting, but from harmony, from aligning ourselves with the way things truly are, and letting that powerful current carry us toward our destination? So I'll leave you with this final thought. What is one current in your life that you can stop fighting against and instead begin to flow with starting today? Maybe it's a natural talent you've been ignoring. Perhaps it's a difficult truth in a relationship that you just need to accept. Or maybe it's a simple principle of health you can finally embrace. The first step isn't to row harder. It's just to pause, observe the water, and choose to turn your boat around. The river is always flowing. The choice to align with it is always ours.